हम लोग छोटी सी ऊंचाई पाकर अपने आप को बहुत महान समझने लगते हैं, लेकिन एक व्यक्तित्व है जिसको जितनी ऊंचाई मिलती गई वो अपने आप को उतना और नीचे महसूस करता गया। वो हमेशा यह कहते हैं कि जितना ज्ञान मिला उतनी अज्ञानता का पता चला। ऐसे एक विशाल व्यक्तित्व जिनका केवल नाम लेने से सर आदर से झुक जाता है, मैं बहुत आदर के साथ यहां दावत दे रहा हूं डॉक्टर जयंत नार्लिकर साहब को।
Distinguished people on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to extend my thanks to Suryadatta group for the honor they have conferred on me. When I was selected for this Lifetime Achievement Award, I was very uncomfortable, honestly, because I don't think that I really deserve it in terms of whatever achievement I made in my lifetime. So I am being very frank with you that I am accepting the award in all humility, but my inner mind tells me that by my own internal standards, I don't think I have achieved much. Now, I like to give here an analogy of a ladder which you are trying to climb. You cannot see the upper end of the ladder because of lack of enough light, but you can see the next 4-5 rungs. So your immediate objective is to climb those 4 rungs. When you climb those rungs, you find that the ladder extends further. So you go another 4-5 rungs. And this is how one progresses in science, because there is no such thing as an ultimate final answer which science will ever reach. You make progress and you find that there is more work that needs to be done which you were not aware of before, because you didn't have the competence to appreciate the problems which science is trying to solve. So this is how I look upon my career or career of a scientist. But it's very interesting when you look at the history of science that over the last 3 centuries, you notice that as the century comes to an end, there is a feeling among scientists, senior scientists, that the end of science has been reached, that all the important problems have been solved. This happened at the end of 18th century when Isaac Newton's work on gravity and dynamics had been applied to solve many problems, and people thought most of the problems in the universe are solved. But that was not the case. Came the next century, 19th century, and in 19th century new branches came up, electromagnetic theory came up, and people began to do more research in it. Towards the end of that century, people realized, again started saying the end of physics has come, and most of the problems are solved by Maxwell, Kelvin and various other scientists. This was again proved to be wrong in 20th century. Then there was quantum mechanics and general relativity, special relativity. Many new things came, which the previous century scientists did not even know of. And it is interesting that even towards the end of the 20th century, scientists were making claims that with grand unified theories and supersymmetry, the end of physics has been reached. But again, new century has started, and we are back to the drawing board and trying to understand nature. So nature is always one step ahead, maybe 2 or 3 steps ahead, and we are trying to catch up for its mysteries. And whatever little success we gain keeps us going. That is how the scientist feels, that there are successes, but there is no end to this road. Now, in that spirit, I am accepting the award, that whatever little I have done is enough to satisfy me in terms of achievement, but not what is really required of me. I would like to say a few words to the students who are present here in large numbers. And since time is running out and you must all be hungry like I am, so I will tell you, instead of doing any upadesh, I will tell you a story. And that story will have the moral which you will automatically guess. So I need not spell it out. So I will just tell you a true story about a scientist from my old university, the University of Cambridge. The story is of two students. One was called Thomson and the other was called Parkinson. And these two were great competitors for the final examination in mathematics in Cambridge. And it was not sure, they were not sure who would win, who will be the topper. But it was certain that these would be number one and number two. So in the end, it was Parkinson who topped the list and Thomson was second. Now, the examiner, the head examiner or the chairman of examiners, when he looked at the mark sheet and all that, he discovered that there was a very difficult question which only these two people had solved, and none of the other students had managed to solve that question. So, and in those days, the Tripos examination, the Cambridge examination, had the system that not all questions carried equal marks, but difficult questions carried lot more marks than easy questions. The idea was that sportsmen would solve the easy questions and will pass with fewer marks, and scholars would attempt the more difficult questions and aim for higher marks. So this examiner called these two students one after the other. He called Parkinson and asked him, look, I had set this particular question, which was a very difficult question. How did you manage to solve it? What is it that made you solve this question? So he said, sir, I don't confine myself to reading textbooks only or class notes, but I read research journals. And in one research journal, I found that there was a paper by somebody who had not signed the name. That is, the name was not there. Author's name was not there. It was an anonymous paper. But in that paper, this problem was solved. So I remembered how to solve this problem because I read that paper. And the examiner had read the very same paper, and from that he had got that problem and he had set it in the exam. So the examiner was pleased that this boy reads research journals, and therefore he needs to be patted on the back that he is not confining himself to textbooks. So he told him to go. Then he called Thomson and asked him a little more aggressively, because he was now convinced that Thomson had copied Parkinson. Otherwise, how could Thomson again also do the same question? So he called Thomson and said, tell me, how did you manage to solve this question? I have just, to warn you, I have just talked to Parkinson, and Parkinson said he saw this problem in a research journal, and that is how he knew the answer. So now are you going to tell me you also read that research journal? So Thomson said, sir, I wrote that paper. So, there you see this Thomson had the originality to think of something and publish it. Later on, that Thomson became Kelvin, Lord Kelvin, who made so many contributions to physics. We don't know what happened to Parkinson. So this is the moral. Now you can draw the moral from this story and pattern yourself accordingly. With my best wishes to all of you and to Suryadatta group, I conclude. Thank you.